El Chino Antrax met his end this week. A Sinaloa cartel hit squad made its way to El Chino's sister's house. They attempted to enter but were repelled by intense automatic fire. El Chino had recently walked away from the boarding house he was confined to while serving out the rest of his U.S. sentence. He made his way back to Sinaloa, apparently with the idea that everything would be gravy. He was welcomed back in Culiacan with a grand party. At some point, Ivan Archivardo arrived in a bad mood and later confronted Chino with suspicions that the gringos had planted a locating device on Chino in order to pinpoint the locations of top-level bosses, including El Mayo, who was a father figure to El Chino. And basically, El Chino's death was sealed. The next night, a hit squad of heavily armed guys arrive at El Chino's sister's house, because that's where he was staying at the moment. After fleeing the US, he ended up in his sister's house. So they arrive at her house and, basically try to break in, saying, Chino has to come with them. And he knows what this is. He's been on the other side of this, so he knows, okay, this is not gonna end well. So he fights back. He opens up with his own guns, brings out the assault rifles and everything. He battles it out with them for the entire night. It was a fierce firefight. From eyewitness accounts, he was firing back at them. There were more than one people inside the house firing back. So most likely his sister and brother-in-law were fighting back with him. But ammo runs out. So when he ran out of ammo by dawn, the jig was up. He surrendered himself to the hit squad. They took him and sister, bundled him up into his sister's BMW SUV. The entire group drove off. A few hours later, El Chino's body, along with his sister and brother-in-law, are found inside the SUV. And they're all dead. They've all been executed. Shot to the head or face, and that's the end of it. El Chino was on the other side of that levanton many times before, but this last firefight was his to lose. Perhaps he was seen as a threat. After all, Culiacan has new bosses and new cliques. El Chino's reign as the dandy of the city was long over, and it's a new era in Culiacan. So basically, that's the reason El Chino was taken out. There are many speculations as to, it was a combination of they thought that he was trying to betray them, but also because El Chino was seen as someone from a different clique coming back into town to try to possibly carve out his own turf. El Chino was friends with the Zambada kids since kindergarten. They've known each other for years. The families of Chino and El Mayo are very close. They know each other. Another thing about El Chino, which is interesting, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but he has brothers and sisters that none of those, the rest of his family, as far as people know, are clean cut. Like his sisters and brothers went to university. They're all professionals. They stay clean. I mean, from the outside looking in, at the end of the day, who knows? But they're just not involved in that party scene or that nightlife scene that how Chino was. So for Los Menores to make those accusations against El Chino, I mean, they must have thought that it was true. At least in their minds. Whether it was true that El Chino had turned and was now working for the US government with the intent to betray his mentor is anyone's guess. I mean, that's what they had in their head, los menores, when they confronted Chino at the party, and could be true, maybe it wasn't. But the only thing that mattered was what the bosses thought. In the classic Scorsese film Casino, towards the end of the movie, during the trial, the old bosses have a meeting in a back room of the courthouse. During a conversation on whether to kill a member of the organization or not, the boss ultimately makes the decision to kill. In his own words, he says something like, "I like him too, but why take a chance?" El Chino called El Mayo and pleaded for a pass, apparently, during the firefight. Or for his boss to send a rescue squad. I mean, this is the guy he worked with for all those years. And El Mayo's sons and kids are like brothers almost to El Chino. They grew up together. So you would figure, okay, this guy, my mentor, he's not gonna believe these rumors or whatever, he's gonna help me out. But, in the end, no one came to help El Chino. He lived a life of excess and danger, luxury, but he chose to live that life. His exploits and lifestyle brought him the attention that ultimately led him down the path to that night in his sister's house, fending off an army of hitmen that were once on his side. And please remember to subscribe, like, and especially leave comments. I love interacting with people that really enjoy the content, and please feel free to send me any messages of anything. So thank you, and please stay tuned. I will be upping the production value on these videos. It's going to be something cool, something different. So yeah, stay tuned and please subscribe.